You know that feeling when you are driving down the highway at like 70 miles an hour?
Oh, yeah.
The music is playing, the cruise control is locked in, and you just feel entirely in command of the machine.
Right. It is a very comfortable, but honestly very dangerous illusion of total control.
Exactly, because then you hear it.
The sound.
Yeah, that ominous, deep mechanical clunk from under the hood. And the dashboard suddenly lights up in bright red, and in an instant, that beautiful, smooth machine is just, well, it's 2 tons of dead metal stranding you on the shoulder.
Yeah, you went from 60 to 0 in seconds.
And your entire day is instantly derailed.
It really is. The transition from an invisible convenience to a highly visible crisis happens in, a fraction of a second.
Right.
And the worst part is, usually the warning signs were there for months.
And we just totally ignored them.
Exactly. We just turned the radio up louder.
Right. We accept this dread with our cars, but when you step into the world of business technology, a sudden breakdown isn't just an inconvenience on the side of the road.
No, not at all.
We're talking about a cascading collapse of operations, revenue, and client trust.
Absolutely.
So today on the Deep Dive, we are exploring a really fascinating post from the Pantheon Perspective blog.
It's a great piece.
It really is. It was written by Jill Stagman on July 20, 2026, and it's titled SystemCare, Keeping Your Machines Healthy So You Don't Have to.
Catchy title.
Yeah. And our mission today is to figure out why so many incredibly smart, data-driven businesses still treat their digital infrastructure like a gambler playing the odds.
It is a critical conversation to have.
Yeah.
Because Stagman is writing from the perspective of someone who has spent, 25 years in the IT trenches?
Something like that, yeah. A long time.
Right, so she has watched businesses make the exact same unforced errors for 2.5 decades.
Yeah, which is wild to think about.
It is. And what we are really unpacking today isn't just a list of computer maintenance tasks.
Right.
We are talking about the fundamental psychology of risk.
Yeah.
And how organizations either manage the inevitable decay of their technology or, frankly, let that decay manage them.
Right, right. Let's start right where Stagman starts, which is the catastrophic reality of reactive IT.
Ah, yes. Reactive IT.
She points out that a shocking number of organizations basically rely on a break-fix model.
They do?
They wait for a server to fail during month-end close. They wait for a workstation to completely die the morning of a massive presentation.
The worst timing possible, always.
Always. Or, worst of all, they leave a door unpatched and just wait for ransomware to waltz right in.
Yeah, which is terrifying.
It is. But,
Yeah.
I have to push back a little here. If I'm running a lean operation, say, a startup or a mid-sized business trying to keep overhead low isn't break-fix a totally valid financial strategy.
Also.
Well, you don't pay a plumber a monthly retainer to watch your pipes, right? You just call them when the sink leaks. Why is IT any different?
See, what's fascinating here is that the plumber analogy is exactly how many CFOs view technology.
Right.
And it is a structurally flawed comparison.
Really?
Yeah. If the sink leaks in your office, someone puts a bucket under it, right? And the rest of the company keeps working.
True, yeah.
But if your central database server crashes because a hard drive physically failed after years of ignored read errors, the entire company stops.
Oh, wow. So the blast radius is entirely different.
Exactly. The blast radius is massive. Stagman's core thesis in this post is that reactive IT is expensive and preventive IT is strategic.
Strategic, okay.
Right. When a business relies on reactive IT to save a few $1,000s in maintenance fees, they are performing a very dangerous optical illusion on their balance sheet.
How do you mean?
They're hiding the true cost of downtime.
Ah.
If a server goes down for 8 hours, you aren't just paying the emergency hourly rate for an IT tech to fix it.
Right, you're paying for all the lost work.
Exactly. You are paying the salaries of 50 employees who are sitting at their desks entirely unable to work.
Just twiddling their thumbs.
Right. You are paying for the missed shipping deadlines. You are paying for the reputational damage when a client's data is temporarily unavailable.
So it's a profound misunderstanding of where the actual expense lies.
Precisely.
It is the classic trap of ignoring an invisible risk because it hasn't materialized into a visible crisis yet.
That's spot on. Humans are neurologically wired to prioritize immediate visible threats.
Right, the tiger in the bushes, not the slowly rusting pipe.
Exactly. A slow accumulation of temporary files on a server doesn't trigger our fight or flight response.
No, not at all.
But the moment that server hits 100% capacity and crashes the network, it is a 5-alarm fire.
Yeah, full panic mode.
Right. So the strategy of preventive IT is essentially about outsourcing that vigilance to a system that doesn't suffer from human cognitive bias.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because if reactive IT is a strategic failure based on cognitive bias, Stagman presents a very specific antidote.
She does.
She uses Pantheon's SystemCare service as the framework, but really she is outlining the architectural model of a managed service provider, or MSP.
Right. It's a broader industry concept.
Yeah. She describes SystemCare as an infrastructure monitoring, maintenance, and management engine.
A very apt description.
And she notes it's flexible, right? Like, it can act as a silent partner doing the grinding back-end work for a company's internal IT team, or it can be part of a fully outsourced managed service.
Right. The principles apply regardless of who executes them.
Okay.
The goal is shifting the operational baseline from waiting for failure to active, relentless monitoring.
So let's translate the mechanics of this relentless monitoring, because Stagman lists out exactly what is being watched.
Let's do it.
We are talking about 24/7 monitoring of CPU usage, hard drive space, memory, and patch status on every server and workstation.
It's a lot of data.
Yeah. What does that actually look like in practice? Like, how does watching CPU usage prevent a crisis?
Let's break down the mechanics. So a CPU, the central processing unit, is the brain of the server.
Right.
If a piece of software encounters a bug and gets stuck in a loop, it might start demanding more and more processing power.
Like it's spinning its wheels.
Exactly. Under a reactive model, you only find out about this when the system completely freezes up on a Tuesday morning and your staff can't log in.
Right, when the crisis is already happening.
But under a 24/7 monitoring model, an alert triggers at, say, 2:00 a.m. on a Sunday, showing the CPU has been spiked at 99% for an hour.
Oh, wow. So someone sees it immediately.
Right. An engineer investigates, identifies the runaway process, and restarts the specific service.
In the middle of the night?
Exactly. The crisis is resolved in minutes while everyone else is sleeping.
So the end user comes in on Monday morning, completely oblivious to the fact that a disaster was averted.
Yes.
It is entirely invisible problem solving.
Which is why IT is such a thankless job, honestly.
I can imagine.
When you do it perfectly, it looks like you did nothing at all.
That's wild. Stagman also highlights the routine tasks. Things like applying Windows, third-party patches on a regular schedule, checking file systems, running defragmentation, and updating drivers.
Right, the housekeeping.
Yeah, it sounds aggressively mundane, but I imagine there is a deep mechanical necessity here.
Oh, absolutely.
Take defragmentation, for example.
Yeah.
What is mechanically happening there that prevents failure?
Okay, so it is fundamentally about physical wear and tear.
Yep.
On a traditional hard disk drive, data is written onto physical spinning platters.
Like a record player.
Very similar, yeah. Over time, as files are created, deleted, and modified, pieces of a single file get scattered or fragmented across different physical locations on that disk.
Right.
So to open that file, the mechanical arm inside the drive has to wildly dart back and forth across the platter to gather all the pieces.
Just to open one document.
To open one document.
Wow. So the machine is literally working harder just to do basic tasks.
Exactly. It slows the system down, obviously. But more importantly, it drastically increases the physical mechanical wear on the drive head.
Because it's flailing around in there.
Right. Defragmentation reorganizes that data sequentially.
Oh, so it puts it all in a neat row.
Precisely. The arm moves smoothly, reading the file in one continuous pass.
That makes total sense.
So you are not just speeding up the computer, you are extending the physical lifespan of the hardware.
And then there's the patching.
Ah, yes.
Stagman explicitly calls out unpatched stores as an invitation for ransomware.
It's a huge issue.
I think people often view software updates as just, getting the new emojis or a slightly different user interface.
Right, like an annoyance on your phone.
Yeah, but the reality of enterprise patching is a totally different beast, isn't it?
It is an active arms race. That's the best way to describe it.
An arms race?
Yeah. When a software vendor releases a security patch, they are effectively publishing a blueprint of a vulnerability that was just discovered.
Oh, wow. So they are telling everyone where the weak spot is.
Exactly. And the moment that patch is released, automated botnets around the world immediately start scanning every IP address they can find.
Looking for people who haven't updated yet?
Looking for servers that haven't applied that specific update.
That is terrifying.
So if you skip a maintenance window because you didn't want to reboot the server, you are leaving an actively documented exploit, completely exposed.
Which brings us to the part of Stagman's post that I found absolutely brilliant.
Report.
She mentions that this monitoring involves reviewing Windows event logs every single month to look for error and warning trends.
Yes, the trend analysis.
Right. It's not just reacting to a red alert, it's looking for the quiet whispers of failure.
That is the highest level of proactive maintenance, really.
I want to use an analogy here. Tell me if this tracks.
Go for it.
Reviewing these logs feels like placing a highly sensitive seismograph on the network.
Oh, I like that.
You aren't just waiting for the massive earthquake to bring the building down, you are detecting the micro tremors. You know, the tiny faults slipping deep underground, weeks before the actual event.
That is a highly accurate way to look at it, actually.
Really?
Yeah, because hardware rarely dies instantly without warning.
It doesn't.
No. If a hard drive controller starts throwing a tiny read error, maybe just one dropped packet every 72 hours, the computer will automatically retry and fetch the data.
So it fixes itself in the moment.
Right. The human user never sees a delay, the operating system doesn't crash, everything looks completely fine.
But the seismograph picks it up.
Exactly. That log entry, that micro tremor tells the system engineer that the physical silicon is degrading and total failure is imminent within 30 days.
Oh, wow. So they can calmly order a replacement drive.
Yep. Swap it out during a scheduled maintenance window on a Friday night, and the integrity of the data is never compromised.
That is the difference between an unbudgeted emergency on a Tuesday afternoon and a minor operational footnote.
Exactly. It's huge.
So, monitoring individual computers and hard drives is the foundation. But Stagman quickly moves us from the individual machines to how they all communicate.
The network.
Right. She dives into the alphabet soup of network services.
The invisible architecture of the office.
Yeah. She notes that a service like SystemCare monitors server-specific processes like Active Directory, DNS, DHCP, and the backup software.
The big four, really.
Right. So what does this all mean? If I am a business owner, these are just acronyms. Let's break them down mechanically so we understand the risk.
Sure.
DHCP, for instance, Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. Why is it a disaster if that stops working?
Let's use a conference analogy for this one.
Okay.
DHCP is the person sitting at the registration desk handing out name tags and seat assignments.
I picture that.
Every single device that connects to your network, a laptop, a phone, a wireless printer, it needs a unique IP address to communicate.
Right.
The DHCP server manages that pool of addresses and leases them out dynamically.
So if the DHCP server goes down, the registration desk is abandoned.
Exactly. Devices that are already connected might be fine for a while, but any new device or any laptop returning from a weekend suddenly can't get an IP address.
Oh, no.
They are in the building, but they are completely invisible to the network. No internet, no file shares, no printing.
Total isolation.
And if the DHCP starts malfunctioning and hands out the same IP address to two different computers.
Like giving two people the same seat assignment.
Exactly. You get an IP conflict, network collisions, and data packets just start dropping into the void.
Chaos. And what about DNS, domain name system? We usually hear about this when massive internet outages happen, but why monitor it on a local office server?
DNS is your translation layer.
Okay.
Computers only speak in numbers, right? IP addresses. Humans speak in words like marketing server 01 or a web address.
Right, we like words.
The DNS server is the phone book that instantly translates your human request into the numerical address the network requires.
Got it.
If internal DNS fails, an employee clicks on the shared drive shortcut they use every day, and the computer just returns an error saying the location cannot be found.
So the server is still physically running, the data is fine, but the map to reach it has been burned.
Precisely. It's lost in translation.
Wow.
And then there's Active Directory, which is perhaps the most critical of all.
What does that do?
Active Directory is the central bouncer for your entire organization.
The bouncer.
Yeah, it manages user accounts, passwords, and permissions. If you have a massive spreadsheet of client data, Active Directory is what dictates that the accounting team can edit it, but the marketing team can only view it.
Let me jump in here, though.
Sure.
If I'm the CTO or a managing partner, I understand these are critical functions. But I still have to ask, do I really need to care about the health logs of my Active Directory?
That's a common question.
Isn't the whole value proposition of a managed service that I pay them to worry about the alphabet soup?
Well, you don't need to read the logs yourself, but you absolutely must understand the mechanism of the vulnerability.
Why is that?
Because Active Directory isn't just about logging in. It is about security and offboarding.
Oh, when someone leaves the company.
Right. If an employee is terminated, Active Directory is where you revoke their access globally in one click.
Gotcha.
If that system isn't being maintained, patched, and monitored, you have a massive vulnerability. Hackers don't usually hack in. They log in using compromised credentials.
Wait, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
If your Active Directory is corrupted or exposed, the bouncer isn't just asleep. He's handing out master keys to anyone who asks.
That is a terrifying thought.
You don't need to know how to code the service, but you need to understand that it is the vault door for your intellectual property.
And that vault door needs to be backed up, which Stagman also highlights as a monitored service.
Absolutely.
A backup that fails silently is worse than no backup at all, right?
Yeah.
Because it gives you a false sense of security.
That is the worst case scenario.
But software and network plumbing are only half the battle, right? Because no matter how perfectly you patch a server, no matter how flawlessly you defragment the drives and monitor the DNS logs, you cannot defeat physics.
No. Thermodynamics always wins.
Yeah.
Machines generate heat, capacitors degrade, and physical components eventually die.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Stagman writes that SystemCare isn't just about keeping your current hardware running. It is about knowing mathematically when that hardware is going to die.
All right, predicting the end.
She introduces the concept of the Virtual Chief Information Officer, the VCIO, and their role in lifecycle planning.
This is where IT transitions from an operational cost to a strategic business advantage.
Yeah. She mentions a very strict standard that Pantheon uses. All equipment must be under 5 years old, and it must be running a supported operating system.
The 5-year rule.
They track the inventory, they watch the calendar, and they tell you when it's time to replace a machine well before it fails.
Right.
But let me play devil's advocate here.
Please do.
5 years feels like an arbitrary line in the sand. If I have a server that is running perfectly fine at year 6, and my monitoring software says the hard drives are healthy, aren't you just asking me to burn cash by replacing it?
It feels like that, doesn't it?
It feels a bit like forced obsolescence.
It is a totally fair question, and it is the exact argument CFOs make all the time.
I bet.
But the 5-year rule isn't arbitrary. It is based on the intersection of hardware degradation and software support. Hardware reliability follows what we call a bathtub curve.
A bathtub curve, like the shape of a bathtub.
Yes, exactly. If you look at a graph of failure rates over time, it looks like a bathtub. You have a high rate of failure right at the beginning.
Like defective parts straight from the factory.
Right, infant mortality due to manufacturing defects. Then it drops down into a long, flat period of highly reliable operation, the bottom of the tub.
Okay, that makes sense.
But around year 5, the curve starts sloping sharply upward again. Heat stress has baked the motherboards. Bearings and the cooling fans are drying out.
Oh, so even if it looks healthy today, the mathematical probability of a catastrophic physical failure is accelerating every single month.
Exactly. The odds are turning against you. And then you add the software component.
Which is?
Well, after 5 to 7 years, the manufacturer of that server stops releasing firmware updates. The company that makes the operating system officially drops support for that specific architecture.
Meaning no more security patches.
Right. So now, even if the metal holds together, you can no longer patch the security doors. You are fundamentally unsecure.
Which brings us back to the financial reality. Let's talk about the difference between capital expenditures and operational expenditures. You know, CapEx versus OpEx.
This is crucial.
Because emergency hardware purchasing is the ultimate CapEx nightmare.
It really is a nightmare.
I always compare emergency hardware purchasing to going grocery shopping when you are absolutely starving.
Oh, that's a perfect analogy.
You make terrible, expensive decisions. You just grab whatever is on the shelf, you pay a premium retail price, and you don't even care because you just need the pain to stop.
You're just reacting to the hunger.
Yes. When a server dies unexpectedly, you don't have time to negotiate with vendors or wait 3 weeks for a custom build. You buy whatever they have in stock right now, and you pay overnight shipping.
Exactly. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the VCIO lifecycle planning changes everything about how a company operates financially.
It takes the emotion out of it.
Yes, it eliminates the starving grocery trip.
Yeah.
When you track that 5-year life cycle, you know in 2024 exactly which machines need to be replaced in 2026.
So you can plan for it.
You can stagger the purchases. You can negotiate bulk discounts.
You transform a sudden, terrifying, unbudgeted catastrophe into a totally predictable, normalized line item on the annual budget.
Exactly. It moves IT out of the realm of crisis management and into the realm of standard operational planning.
That's amazing.
You are controlling the timeline, rather than letting the degrading silicon dictate the terms of your business.
It is a profound shift in control.
It really is.
But of course, we can talk about perfectly maintained servers, seismograph event logs, and 5-year life cycles all day. At the end of it all, these flawless machines only exist to serve the profoundly flawed human beings using them.
Well said. The human element is always the ultimate variable.
It is. And Jill Stagman concludes her post with a really compelling tease for the future.
What does she say?
She writes, SystemCare focuses on your machines. Its companion service, UserCare, focuses on your people. She promises to walk through why responsive help desk support is one of the most underrated investments a business can make.
This raises an important question, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We spend all this time, energy, and capital ensuring the CPU doesn't spike, the hard drives are defragmented, and the network plumbing is crystal clear.
Millions of dollars on it.
But what happens when the human being, the actual engine of the business, hits a wall?
Right. A beautifully maintained server running brand new hardware means absolutely nothing if the lead salesperson is locked out of their account on the morning of a pitch.
Exactly.
Or if a new hire can't figure out how to map the network drive. The pristine technology is effectively useless if the friction of using it destroys the user's productivity.
That's exactly it. Responsive help desk support bridges the gap between perfect infrastructure and actual human output.
How so?
Well, when a person feels supported, when they know they can call a number and get an immediate empathetic response without being made to feel technically incompetent, it changes their relationship with their tools.
It removes the fear.
It eliminates the dread entirely. They stop finding shadow IT workarounds and they actually utilize the systems you spent all that money building.
It optimizes the human layer of the network.
Yes.
So let's synthesize the journey we've been on today.
Let's do it.
We started in the expensive, chaotic reality of reactive IT. You know, the world of ignored warning signs, unpatched ransomware vulnerabilities, and the break-fix mentality that hides massive costs and lost productivity.
A strategy based entirely on the doomed premise of hoping things just work out.
And from there, we unpacked the mechanics of the preventive model. We explored how 24/7 monitoring acts as a seismograph for your infrastructure, catching microtremors and event logs before the earthquake hits.
Right.
We demystified the alphabet soup of Active Directory and DHCP, revealing the vital importance of maintaining the invisible plumbing.
The bouncer and the registration desk.
Exactly. And we broke down the financial wisdom of the virtual CIO and the 5-year hardware rule.
Transforming emergency capital expenditures into smooth, predictable operational budgets.
It really is a masterclass in shifting from a defensive crouch to an offensive strategy in business technology.
Absolutely.
But before we wrap up, I know you were thinking about how these mechanical concepts apply outside the server room.
Yes, it was. I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over. Something that builds on Stagman's principles, but points the lens right back at us.
Okay, I'm listening.
We've spent this entire deep dive talking about the rigorous, uncompromising lengths we will go to in order to protect our silicon and plastic.
The relentless monitoring, the scheduled patches, the strict life cycles.
Exactly. We monitor CPU load to ensure it doesn't spike. We defragment drives to reduce wear and tear. We enforce mandatory downtime for maintenance.
Right.
If businesses are willing to invest so heavily in this philosophy for their machines to prevent catastrophic breakdowns, why do we so rarely apply that same preventive maintenance philosophy to human energy?
Oh, wow. That is a sharp pivot.
Think about it. We push ourselves and our teams past the warning signs constantly.
We really do.
We ignore our own event logs, the micro tremors of exhaustion, irritability, and missed details.
The red lights on our own dashboards.
Exactly. We routinely skip our own maintenance windows, our rest, our time offline, hoping we don't go sideways. We run the human CPU at 99% utilization for months at a time.
That is so true.
Why are we so incredibly diligent about preventing burnout in our servers, but so entirely reactive when it comes to the burnout of our people?
That's a heavy, essential question. We wait for the human engine to literally drop out on the highway before we offer the break-fix solution of a long weekend.
We need a 5-year lifecycle plan for our own operational capacity.
I think we all need to check our own event logs today.
I agree.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Take care of your machines, upgrade your network plumbing, and most importantly, take care of yourselves. We will catch you next time.